God is good, and all the time. Yes, it has been a very wonderful day. This is the tail end of this meeting. You have waited patiently, and we thank you for that. And when we were waiting, this moment reminded me of what the CEO of this company, CEO Dr. Paul Kebisho, must have felt last week when he was waiting for the CS for Education, Julius Migos Ojiambo, to release the results. His heart was full of excitement and at the same time was confused, not knowing very well what her daughter would score. And as you waited here, or as you continue to wait, I know you are in that status. But for Dr. Paul Kebisho, when the CS finalized releasing the exams, the daughter who has been under the mentorship, the coaching, the training, and the empowerment of his father, Dr. Paul Kebisho, scored 84 out of 84. An A in mathematics, an A in English, an A in Kiswahili, an A in physics, an A in chemistry, an A in biology, an A in history and government, and an A in Christian religious education. I'm saying this because this is the same man that you have entrusted with your money. And it goes without saying that if you need to see or judge my performance, all you need to know is how I am performing in other areas. So even before I proceed to release his performance for Quest Pinnacle for the 2025, do you think he passed as good as his daughter did, or maybe anyone could be having a doubt? That is a rhetorical question, because my work as an external auditor is not to rely on the reputation or the good image of the leader, but I'm guided, I'm directed, I'm required to use the professional procedures to verify every other transaction that Quest Pinnacle was involved at, to confirm that it was done above board. Before I proceed, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to, with humility, to recognize my boss. I work in too many places, and there's one place that comes before other places, and that is a place we work with Dr. Paul Kebisho, Catholic University. In our presence, in our midst, we have our dean, who is our leader, together with Dr. Kebisho at Catholic University. May I request, Dean, that you stand and you wave the audience kindly. Thank you very much, Dean. Thank you very much, Dean, for even allowing me to get this opportunity to come here. But I want to say, when you read and you get to the level of PhD, I'm recognized as a full-time lecturer at Catholic University, but I only work 2 days in a week. And the same thing happens to Dr. Kebisho. And today I have one unit that I need to go rush and teach from 5:30 to 8:30, and that is company law. At the university, I teach law units, and this is because apart from getting the PhD in finance and also being qualified certified public accountant, I am a certified secretary. And this is a course that is done by lawyers, and that's why we need the authority, the powers to. If he's not teaching, I am the one who is teaching, and we thank Dean Dr. Ann Kiboy for giving us the opportunity. Before I proceed to give an assessment and a declaration whether Dr. Kebisho performed as well as his daughter did by scoring straight A's, and I want to give also special thanks to Mama Wangari. I know, please let's clap for Mama Wangari. That is Dr. Kebisho's wife, for a good job well done. Before I do that, allow me to introduce also a company that I work for, that is Kamau and Associates. This is an auditing firm that specializes in 3 services. One is the accounting services. We outsource accounting services to small and big businesses where we ensure ability and the capital that you contribute to the business is well taken care of. Even if you proceed to get an in-house accountant, it is always advisable that you get another external accountant who will be supervising and monitoring the work that is being done by the in-house accountant. Remember, you are a very busy person and you're not able to track all the transactions that your accountant is involved at. But as we come into your business, we install an accounting system and we are able to see remotely what the in-house accountant is doing on a day-to-day basis. In case there is something that is off, we are able to do what is, to raise alarm and take corrective action before it is too late. We also offer taxation services. In case you are having a challenge with the KRA tax cases, KRA, any day they can wake up and give you a tax invoice of 1 million, 10 million, and it is our work to represent you to ensure that we provide KRA with the necessary data and records, evidence to ensure that you only end up paying what you need to pay or what you are required to pay. So we do that over and above filing the tax returns, whether it is VAT, pay as you earn, and we work as a team. Finally, we offer auditing services in case you want to go to the bank and acquire a loan facility. Bank doesn't know you. The bank doesn't know what business you do, and they cannot trust you because kinyozi hajinyoi. So they rely on the credibility of the auditor. Whatever the word auditor will give, the word that the auditor will give on your business is what is taken seriously. So we offer auditing services for people who want to procure a loan facility. And also in case you are having a case with the KRA, they also require you to provide them with an audited financial statements for them to really know whether you have been paid the taxes the right way or not. And of course, in case you want to participate in a tendering process, you cannot do that without audited financial statements. We do all that. We are located at along Thika Road, and I will be sharing the contacts as I proceed to make the presentation. So now, without further ado, allow me to take you through the performance of Quest Pinnacle in the year 2025. I want to start with the statistics about the member statistics. I hope all of us, we can be able to see there. The company was started in 2021, towards the very end of 2021. And that year, it closed with 68 members. In 2022, the membership increased to 152, and 2023 to 230. And this is the period when the money was locked. As one of the investors said, it was about trust. That we have that doubt. You can never be very sure 100%. So there were those people who are not very sure whether the lock-in process, where the lock-in idea was to maybe take advantage of members and not give them back money. But contrary to what someone would have thought, in 2024, the membership, yes, the lock-in was 20. We usually don't count 2021 because 2021 that is when the company started, in November 2021. So when we are saying the 3 years, 2021, we don't put it into consideration. So ideally, it's from 2022, 2023, and 2024. That's when the lock period was opened, and we had the first AGM here, 16th of January 2025, where we declared dividends. And after that, you can see the members, the investors had so much confidence with the company. The membership increased from 356 to where we are today at 572. Let's clap for ourselves. Because I know the reason why these numbers have increased is because once you have a happy customer, they become ambassadors and the brand of the organization, and this is what you have become. I have had the directors, the management saying many times, they always ask someone, how did you know about us? Some say it is from Inoro, from the media and others, and a good percentage, it is from a word of mouth from happy existing customers. Next one. And we are still trying to see whether Dr. Kibisho also scored the straight A's, just like the daughter, as I present these statistics. That one, if membership was a unit in Quest Pinnacle, they don't just come for the sake of it. They bring their seeds so that Quest Pinnacle, with their expertise, they can be able to plant these seeds, water them, put fertilizer in November towards the end of the year. They were able to get investors who invested 7 million. In 2022, that number increased astronomically, exponentially, to 78 million. We were ending 2024. We had, this is cumulative. As you can see, it is growing. The 7 million people did not withdraw. It went to 78. More people came, 163. And by the time we were opening the investment period, we had accumulated, the company or the firm had accumulated 291 million as members' deposits. This is the trust that members had even when they could not see. We normally say that seeing is believing, but this time they were seeing nothing, it was only hope. And this is very good, as they say, faith is when you decide to take the first step, even when you cannot see the rest of the stairs, and that's what you did. When the company had not been tested, had not been proven, or all you are relying on is the integrity and the character of the members, of the directors who are heading this company. So today, the whole of 2025, the company, after declaring dividends in 2024, and as Dr. Kibisho said, he visited several media houses, and the word of mouth from the happy customers, the company was able to increase exponentially their members' deposit contributions from 291 to 472 million. I'm hoping that with the kind of happy customers that this Quest Pinnacle continue to have, definitely the number will continue to grow. Asset portfolio. There's a difference between the members' deposit and the assets of the company. Because the members' deposits, we are just talking about seeds. But the asset portfolio is now the assets that have been invested into by the company. So that's why you will see we have 472 as the maximum, but in this other year, we have 554 million as the maximum. Now here, we are above the half. This, according to the statistics of Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, where it is said that the 99% of the wealth of Kenya is the population. And of course, the vice versa, that the 99% of Kenyans only own the 1% of the wealth of Kenya. And it owns the 99% of the wealth of Kenya, or the 99% population that only own 1% of the wealth of Kenya. If to break those statistics to about 50 million Kenyans, 500 million, and you have not done your best, I believe with the speeches that the various speakers, the guest speaker has done a wonderful job. I know you'll stretch further and make that 1 billion a reality. Asset allocation. This is very, very important. And it is part of what we do as auditors to check how assets that members, how the money for members have been invested. Safaricom, company like Safaricom, we would have raised alarm. We would have raised alarm. The reason being, as we all know, that even big companies do collapse. I heard one of the speakers mentioning with a lot of humility, the late Raila Odinga. He was a person that was loved and respected by most Kenyans, but today he's not here with us. That is the risk that can happen to anything, to anyone, including companies. And that's why it is very important that the company does not invest in one company alone. And this is a policy that the company has. It has a very well diversified portfolio. When I speak about equities, equities is the one that basically talks about shares. It is about that 1%. These are not shares that have been invested in one company alone. In Kenya, we have four sectors from financial sector, manufacturing sector, agricultural sector, and mining sector. So those are the four categories where one can invest shares in one of those sectors. But those sectors, they have industries. And I will go with the financial industry. In financial sector, we have four industries. We have commercial banks, we have insurance sector, we have SACCO, and we have pension firms. But those are not firms, you cannot buy shares because those are just industries. So again, for commercial banks, that's now where the company goes to buy a few shares, maybe from KCB, from cooperative, from equity. And the insurance sector, they go to Sanlam, they go to Britam, they go to ICA, from those other sectors. So at the end of the day, they ensure that their investments are very, very, very diversified. It's not only the company also has invested in shares abroad, offshore investments. This is a strategy to diversify and ensure that even if, like, where we are headed into, get a repetition of 2007. But what would happen if you go back to 2007 and all investments that Quest Pinnacle have done are local? So to avoid and to mitigate for such risk, the company has already invested largely in international markets. So that is the same story for equity. When you talk about fixed return securities, we are talking about those investments that you make and you are guaranteed a fixed return. This is not guesswork. For instance, if you invest on treasury bonds or treasury bills and with the government of Kenya, and they tell you we will be giving you a return of 10% at the end of the year. You invest 100,000 and they tell you 10% of 100,000, we will give you 10,000 at the end of the year. That is not guesswork, it is guaranteed, it is certain. So the company has invested in such platforms where it wants to mitigate the risk that investing in shares, it's not 100% guaranteed, but for fixed return securities, it is guaranteed. And when you talk about fixed return securities, we are talking about corporate bonds, the word bond. It can be corporate bonds, it can be treasury bonds, it can be euro bond, it can be anything. Those are investments where you are guaranteed a specific return at the end of the year. We have done that by investing, and I'm saying this because I'm not talking as an internal person. I'm talking as an auditor. Because for us, when we are doing auditing, we have to check where their assets are. And by doing that, we have to get documentation from the various companies that they have invested financial assets in. So that is fixed return securities. When you talk about commodity market, and you have had Dr. Kebisho mention once in a while, that they have also invested they invest in transactions relating to gold, to gold, to oil, to bitcoins, to cryptocurrency, just to ensure this is something that you cannot achieve when you are investing by yourself. You cannot achieve. And I like there is one of the speakers that said, when we pool our resources together and we put them in one basket, assuming it is 1 billion, this 1 billion, the Quest Pinnacle is able now to invest some parts in different sections. With your 100,000, you cannot be able to do that. You can only be able to invest maybe by buying 1 unit of treasury bond. Because in many places, there's a minimum amount of money that you can invest. So with your 10,000, you cannot. But if you bring your 16,000 here at Quest Pinnacle, and you join hands with the other monies that have been contributed by other investors like you, then you get a bigger pool, and you are able to have a very diversified portfolio. That even if we have problems in the US with Trump, this portfolio also includes investments in China, in Asia, in Europe. If it is Africa where we have a challenge, again, very, very diversified. You cannot risk to put all your money. So this is one of the audits that we did to ensure that one day you don't come to Quest Pinnacle only to hear that a certain organization where all these monies had been put did collapse. This is unit number 2 of Daktari, and as the CEO for Quest Pinnacle, and I can say another straight A. Another straight A. This is now the balance sheet. This is the balance sheet. You can see, let me start from even from 2021 to just show you the strength where the total assets. In 2021, I just want to see the strength of the company in terms of assets and how these assets have grown over time. In 2021, 10 million. 2022, it increased to 107, 238, 363, and finally, where we are as we speak, the total assets for the company is 555 million. Just like I had said, this is another summary. We are already above 0.5 billion mark. Let's clap for ourselves. So again, in terms of, so basically the top side is the assets. And again, these assets, because the 55 million is not money for Quest Pinnacle. It is money for members who have invested their resources at Quest Pinnacle. So as Quest Pinnacle says, we have assets of 555 million. They also acknowledge that we have a debt of 555 million. And this debt is your money. If you give me, when you take money to the bank, you deposit money to the bank, the money, your money when it is at the bank, that is a debt, that is a liability to the bank. Because it is not bank's money. But the good thing, you can see all the monies that you have invested, you have actually invested, you have invested 472 million, but the assets that the company has is 551 million Kenya shillings. So your money is working for you. And as it was said by one of the speakers, if you only rely on active income, you will work until you die. If you only rely on active income, you will work until you die. You have to come up with procedures, with strategies where money can start working for you. Money start working for you. And the keynote speaker said it very well, interest on interest. And he did explain that concept where the first investment that you make generates some interest. So maybe the first one was the parent. It gives birth to some children. Then those children gives birth to another one. So at the end of the day, the first deposit that you invested have great grandchildren, and those who are good to mention that what you call passive income for you is active income for Quest Pinnacle. Because when you invest, you are investing and you are assured that you have given money to people who are experienced, to people who are experts, people who have been licensed by CMA. You cannot be licensed by CMA if you don't have the right qualifications to be able to take care of other people's money. So when you consider this passive income for you, because you are relaxing and money is working for you, this team here and other team and other persons that are not here, they keep strategizing on a day-to-day basis to ensure how they have to keep your money well diversified to prevent any risk that can come as a result of a poor investment. This is the income statement. As you can see, the lines that I want you to concentrate on, thank you very much. The lines that I want you to concentrate on is the line for investment income, and also the line for the last row for return on investment. I know it is past lunch hour, and I don't want to take you through all these figures here. Allow me to just direct you to where it matters most for your understanding. So investment income, what we are saying, this is income that was generated by the company in various years from the monies that they invested for you. The deposits that you had given the company in 2021, the investment income that the company generated was 500 million. In 2022, 16 million. Again, you can see the growth. 2023, 38 million. 2024, 59 million. And as we speak today, the money that the company was able to generate for you, 98 million. We are talking about 98 million. This is a company that was just formed. Let's clap for the company. The management, this is a company that was formed barely 3 years ago, and that is pure profit. That is pure profit of 98 million. You can, if you say it is about 100,000, because it's 2 million shy of 100,000, and the total investment 472 million, which again we can put it above to, we say it is 500,000, 100 over 500 is 20%. So I'm just trying to simplify the computation for you. So that's a return of about 20%, but it is not 20%. I will give you the exact details about that. So that is the line. You can see the company that you are working with or you are dealing with. So let's go to the lowest row. The lowest row. Again, we start in 2021. There were no returns in 2021 because the money that you gave to the company around November, it was not invested until the beginning of 2022. And I want also to make public this policy that if you bring your money today is 16th of January, and I know there are people who will invest as we leave this meeting. Your money will only be invested 1st of February, because any money that the company receives, the board has to meet. And the board meets after some investors have brought the money is up to a certain threshold. Then the board meets and they make the decision, where do we invest this money? It is not automatic, because when you put things automatic is that's where you go wrong. Every other time before you invest, you have to investigate. And that's what the board sits to ensure that they investigate before they invest blindly. So that's why you can see 2021, yes, we had some income, we had some contributions, but there was no rate of return. But in 2022, the company gave a return of 13%. But that money was not distributed to members because it was during that period when we had locked the investment. In 2023, the same thing happened, 13%. I believe that time the company was still young and maybe also the effects of COVID. But when it came to 2024, magic happened, more experience, more exposure. The return was 14.5%. As we speak today, I did delete that the one for 2025. That's where you cannot see. I wanted to give the honors to Daktari to come and tell us that one. He knows, but he has requested that I proceed. Before I proceed, if we give you a return of 14.5%, that is your money. The issue of withholding tax only applies when you are withdrawing your dividends. Like for instance, if you had invested 1 million in the year 2025, and we give you a return, for example, of 15%. 15% of 1 million is 150,000. If you withdraw that money, the government will require that you pay some taxes. They are called withholding tax. But if you reinvest, you don't touch that money. You say the money to remain where it is. you don't pay any taxes. So that's another reason, that's another incentive for someone not to just withdraw money. Because the money that you would have given the government, you have put it back, so you are using the government's money to invest for yourself. Now to the meat of the meeting. From 98 million, all the way those calculations, computations, down there, the return on investment for the year 2025, and this is what will determine whether Dr. Kibisho did score an A overall, just like the daughter did in KCSE for 2025, is 15.9%. 15.9% is what Quest Pinnacle was able to generate as payable dividends for you on the amount of money that you have invested with them. If you go to your funds and you look, last year we were competing with the government because the treasury bills, treasury bonds, that time were 12%, 13%, 14%. But that time the government was very desperate. It had increased the rate of interest for the people who are lending the government. For them to get the money that they wanted, they had to incentivize and raise the interest rate for treasury bills. As we speak today, the treasury bills and treasury bonds are below 10%, 8.65. Those people who would have thought that investing in the Quest Pinnacle was not a good idea and they felt the government was more reliable, the government is led by politicians. For Quest Pinnacle, it is led by experts, by technocrats, people who are forward-looking and they are not playing politics with your money. The 15.9%, and I'm saying I had deleted there because when presenting, excuse me for a minute. Because when presenting, I had wanted the CEO to do that, but he has given me the honors. So the 15.9%, this is the money, this is the rate at which your money grew at in 2025. The money that you invested in 2025 and the money that was in your account as at the beginning of January 2025. Remember, most people who started investing in 2021, they have never withdrawn their money. So all the monies that you had cumulatively by January 2025, and the rest, if you give it, and that's what the keynote speaker was talking about, the eighth wonder of the world, which is referred as the confounding compounding interest. The confounding means something surprising. Confounding, compounding power of interest. Now, compounding power of interest. Now, that is the 9%, which is a straight A, even when you compare this performance, which is a stellar performance compared to the government performance of 8.9%, compared to the government performance of 8.9%, compared to